Okay. So hello, welcome everyone. This is so nice to see familiar faces. Hello, Renee. Nice to see you again. Hello, Kelsey. Nice to see you again. What a lovely small group. Like if it stays this small, we might actually do just a brief round of intros, which we haven't done in a long time because sometimes it takes too long. But like with an intimate group, you can do it, which is so cool. So welcome. Thanks for making the time to be here tonight. I'm very excited to have Sean here. Sean is the last guest speaker of our 2023 guest speaker lineup series, which is pretty fun. And he'll be the last for a few months because, as we were just talking about, I'm about to go on maternity leave. I am Day Cooper. That's a blast from the past. I'm Day Hagel. I haven't been Day Cooper in a while. I'm Day Hagel. I'm the director of Mental Health Wilderness First Aid. And so, what we do, as everyone here knows, is we provide mental health first aid training, and it's specifically oriented to folks who live, work, or play out in remote areas. So, we do lots of work with search and rescue and outdoor educators, polar guides, First Nations communities, tree planters, other remote industries. And I'm just running a program now for an outreach program for folks who are experiencing homelessness and substance use and that kind of thing, which is another area that we might kind of go into. So we do have one more course coming up online. It's starting next weekend before I go on mat leave, and then we're starting up again in spring 2024, and we also offer custom courses. So in addition to the courses, we also have put together this guest speaker series, which has been a wonderful way to offer some value added for folks for free. And it's also been such a great way to bring folks back after they've taken their course. So it's not just like a one and done. It's like, hey, value added continuing education. I know that some people have used the guest speaker series for like some kind of continuing education credits at their work or whatever it is. So if that's of service to you, then feel free to send me an email if I can send you a certificate of your attendance or something like that. You can watch all our past guest speakers on our website, and I'll drop the link in the chat there for you. I do just want to say very warm welcome to Sean J. Very excited to have you here. Sean J is a good family friend and has been for many, many years. He's also done admin work for Mental Health Wilderness First Aid. And he's also been our mindfulness and meditation coach and consultant. So some of you have had him in your classes, and some of you may have talked to him over email. And for some of you, he's new. But yeah, I'm really glad to have you here. So Sean, I'm just going to read your bio off our page and say a little bit about what we're doing tonight. So Sean J. Stevens, infamous for telling people he loves them and meaning it, along with his affinity for nerd culture. I can vouch for that. Star Wars is comes frequently. Sean J. Stevens is steadfast in his desire to support people in cultivating and growing a mindfulness practice through meditation. Practitioners and beginners alike engage Sean J. services to deepen their connection to themselves, their community, and their own spirituality through contemplative practice. With infectious joy and compassionate approachability, he guides and encourages people through the process of fostering a daily meditation practice that will positively impact their lives forever. And I'll drop a link to Sean's link tree as well, just so we've got all of our links in order. Then I'll read what Sean says. So, Sean, you've said, Sean J., I'm a certified meditation and mindfulness instructor and the creator and director of Harkening Deer. In addition to coaching, teaching, and facilitating meditation in a variety of settings, I create meditation tracks and other mindfulness content and resources for world-famous meditation apps Aura and Insight Timer. I hold certificates in mental health wilderness first aid. Sean has gone all the way through our training with us, and then he's started to jump on and help facilitate portions of courses. Also holding certificates in meditation and in religious studies. Along with my steadfast desire to support people in cultivating and growing a mindfulness practice, I am passionate about nature and spending time in and connecting with nature. Through my work, I encourage and guide people to connect on a deeper level to self, community, nature, and all things. As such, the practices I teach are invaluable in remote settings, such as the settings in which Mental Health Wilderness First Aid alumni and students are located. In fact, I love this little portion that you put into your description, Sean. In fact, while many self-care or mental health resources are not always available in remote settings, meditation and mindfulness always is. Therefore, perhaps a case can be made for these tools being the most powerful and accessible tools at our disposal. So very grateful to you, Sanjay, for being here tonight. And welcome to everyone. What would you like to do, Sean? You have a sense of timing. With the group's grown a little bit, so we might invite folks to just introduce themselves in the chat, or would you like to do just a real quick round of who's here and where everyone's calling in from?
Yeah, I think we can do a quick round.
Okay, sweet.
And
So
if people want to, we can do a body check too. I like starting off. Like I don't know, I really like starting off meditations and courses and anything like that with that. So if the group's small enough, then yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Well, why don't I just finish the last couple housekeeping things, and then we'll do, I'll hand it over to you, and you can set us up for what you want that body check to look like invitation wise, and then I'll just hand it over to you from there. So as another housekeeping thing, we are recording this event. We will post it to our social after, pardon me, as you can see. So that being said, if you ask a question or make a public comment that you would prefer in retrospect not be part of a public recording, please just shoot me a quick email or a text chat, and I'm happy to edit things out before they go up. So you have I always say, like, please tell me within a few days. Realistically, it takes me a little longer than that to get the video up, but yeah, just let me know. I like folks to feel comfortable to share without thinking that you're necessarily going to have to be on social. And as another housekeeping thing, I will be here to support any kind of tech issues in the background. I'm not sure exactly what Sean wants to do with the chat. You're certainly welcome to use the chat, but I can call your attention, Sean, to anything that's in the chat if you don't see it. But yeah, any kind of techie things, feel free to contact me so that Sean can focus more on content. That being said, I imagine that questions around the content will be well directed to Sean. And as always, the guest speaker's views are his own and may or may not reflect the views of Mental Health Wilderness First Aid. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to you. Sanjay, what would you like that check-in to look like?
Yeah, I would love to hear from everybody in terms of just where you're coming from, like where you live, where you're located, and how you're feeling. And as Day always says, if we're feeling something, chances are we're feeling it somewhere in our body. So yeah, just I'd love to hear how you're feeling and where that is located in your body, and how that's showing up in your body. For me, as Day said, my name is Sean J. Stevens, and I'm a father of 6 and a husband, and I am located on the land of the Katzie Nation, specifically the Katzie Nation, which is one of the Coast Salish nations. And yeah, I humbly and respectfully honor with gratitude the land and the people who are here first. So that's not usually a lot of context for people to know where I am. I live in otherwise known as Maple Ridge, British Columbia, which is usually still not enough context for people. So I usually like to say I'm about an hour east of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. That's the largest city close to me. So I don't know how do we want to do this? Do we want to do maybe alphabetical order? Yeah, let's do alphabetical order. I think that would be Donna first.
There, now you can hear me. Okay, I'm Donna Power. I'm over in the Radium Hot Springs area of British Columbia. Interesting that you are suggesting I talk about something I'm feeling in my body, because it did occur, and it put the lights on immediately as soon as I was getting on to this. I have had a lot of Zoom stuff going on over COVID. I was often in your position, Sean. I was leading it, and the stress was pretty huge, especially when the technology was daunting. And so I'm feeling a little bit that in me and going, oh yeah, but I'm not doing the doing, I'm being done too. So yay, I have less stress, but I can feel it. So thanks for bringing that forward for me.
Yeah, you're welcome. And up to Isolde.
Yeah, I'm Isolde, and I'm part of, like, I live on the Treaty 6 territory, also, including Edmonton, Alberta. And I do a lot of, not yet, but hopefully in the future, I will do some forest therapy walks. And so mindfulness is a very important piece. And I'm hoping to do that with newcomer and refugees.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's awesome. Kelsey, I think you're up next.
Hi, everybody. I am in Vancouver, BC right now. I feel quite light and joyous in my body. It was really sunny today and I was outside and just got in. But as I got in, I noticed my eyes feel really heavy and tired. I just got back from Tanzania. And so my time, I'm kicking into the jet lag time right now. So I'm going to do my best, but I'm feeling a little bit tired right now.
Very understandable. Yeah, what's next? Laura, right? I think.
Yes, thank you, everyone. My name is Laura, and I want to follow the lead on this. I don't want to say just the city. I want to say that I am sitting on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendax people, as well as many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people here in Toronto. Sorry, I was just reading that. So how I feel it in my body, I feel it a lot in my feet, and it hurts actually. But I feel it there.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that feels better.
I'm sorry to. I'm working on that. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know some good body scans that might be helpful for that. I think Marie is next. Yeah. Sorry if I'm saying your name correctly.
It's all right. I wasn't sure if it was me. Mary's all right. I'm Mary Helen. It's just in Quebec, there are so many people that are named Mary something. So most of the time when you say Mary, I don't know who you're talking about, kind of thing. But yeah. So so I live in Montreal, and which is an unceded Kandiaga territory, and land where many different nations used to meet and still meet and live today. That's it. And it's, I don't know, first day of my period, so I feel it in my lower belly, I'd say. Pretty straightforward. I cannot go around it. It's there. So that's it.
Nice, thank you. All right, where are we? People are moving around now. I think Melissa, if you want to introduce yourself, you're next.
Hi there, joining a little bit late. Yeah, I kind of jumped in within the last two people, so I'm not totally sure what the intro includes, but I'm gathering I'm on the Sinixt, Tanaha, and Seshwetm Nation land, and I'm not entirely sure what people are describing when they're talking about where they feel things, so feel free to fill me in.
Yeah, sorry, I apologize, Melissa. So we're just talking about how we're feeling, and usually when we're feeling something, it probably shows up somewhere in our body. So Day always likes to say, if we're feeling something, we're probably feeling it somewhere in our body. So we're just expressing a feeling where it may be showing up in our body.
Yes, I am exhausted, and it's here in my throat. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, one of the Renees. What are the chances of there being two Renees? So
So unlikely. This never happens to me. I think this is the first time ever. I think for you too, other Renee, you'd be like primary Renee. I'll go since I'm already talking. I'm feeling pretty eager and excited today. I had some good opportunities come up for me today. So I've got some energy in my face because I've been smiling a lot. But also I'm a little bit tired because exciting things are also a little bit exhausting. So my eyes are a little bit tired. I'm going to focus a little bit on the distance and not so much on the screen during parts of this presentation to maybe try and help with that eye exhaustion. I'm coming from Lethbridge, which is situated on Treaty 7 territory, the lands of the Blackfoot Confederacy. And Lethbridge is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3.
Thank you. Other Renee.
Which is funny because I put Renee because then when I do my yoga practice, there's often another Renee. So yeah, my name is Renee. I live on the unceded territory of what we call today the Comox First Nation. So that's on Vancouver Island. I live in Cumberland. I'm feeling very tender today. I'm actually in Calgary right now visiting my family. My dad is turning 90 on Saturday, and there's a lot of weight and sadness and tenderness there. So yeah, coming into this, I didn't even know if I could show up, but I'm here and feeling it in my heart and in my throat, and yeah, tears in the back of my eyes. But I'm glad to be here today.
Well, thank you so much. We're very glad you're here. Rudy.
Hello, I'm Rudy. Go to Thompson Rivers. I actually just wrote down land acknowledgement because I've been meaning to actually write my own, but I am on the Shrupnik territory, I believe. I just have to make sure I do my actual acknowledgement paper. I feel like roller coaster today and yesterday. It's been a lot of information coming at me. Most of it's been in my shoulders. But yeah, like Renee, I was smiling as much as I could today at people, and it's been helping. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. I love that that little bit about, smiling. Yeah, I read a thing a long time ago that smiling actually like tricks your brain into being happy. Like it releases the happy chemicals in your brain and actually makes you happy just from smiling. So, and I realized about halfway through that I didn't say how I was feeling. I never ask people anything that I wouldn't answer myself. So I'm feeling nervous and I'm feeling excited. It doesn't seem to matter how many of these sorts of things I do. I'm always a little bit nervous, and I think that's okay. I think that's good. As Day was saying to me earlier, that means it's important. It means I'm taking it seriously and it's important to me. So yeah, and I'm feeling the nervousness. I'm feeling a little bit in my belly, and the excitement and kind of, I guess, openness I'm feeling in my chest. So Day's going to be doing the slides. We had a little bit of a technological hiccup just before everybody came on. So Day's going to be in charge of the slides, so I'm probably going to be saying silly things like next slide, please. And I'm also looking at about 1,000 different things at one time, so I'm probably not going to see what's going on in the chat. So yeah, if Day can just let me know if anything needs to be addressed that is thrown in the chat, that would be fantastic.
I will do my best. And now that I am the one sharing screen, it's much harder for me to see the chat. So how about everyone participates in, if there's anything to draw Sean's attention to in the chat, let's all work together. Or with a group this size, you can probably just like wave at Sean or unmute.
Yeah. And I'm totally I'm totally all for if someone wants to just interject and cut me off or whatever. That's great too. So yeah, so psychoeducation and mindfulness, how meditation works in the brain, / mindfulness for outdoor context. So a little bit of a spoiler alert that was kind of already given, as Day kind of alluded to earlier. So mindfulness and meditation are fantastic tools that can be used in pretty much any situation. And while I do use technology sometimes with clients and every once in a while myself, yeah, most meditation and mindfulness practices can be done just wherever in the most remote of settings. And so we'll talk about some specific outdoor context mindfulness practices, and they kind of all are, most of them are anyway. So yeah, next slide, please. So yeah, so we're going to start off. This is kind of just our flow of discussion for tonight. I'll start off with, we kind of already did the introduction, but we'll start off with some definitions. And then the first section is called The Elephant and the Rider. So the Elephant and the Rider, the first two sections, the Wizard and the Lizard section, and the Elephant and the Rider section are influenced heavily by the Mental Health Wilderness First Aid course. And so I'll kind of blast through those pretty quick, I think, because I think everyone here has been through the MHWFA course, yeah? Either the basic or the...
Most people, but not quite everyone, so...
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay, so like, well, yeah, we'll start off with some psychoeducation. And then section 3 is where we get into like how meditation and mindfulness kind of works, and how AKA how the wizard talks to the lizard. And then we get into kind of the benefits of meditation. So we'll do the immediate benefits of meditation and the long-term benefits of meditation. And then we'll end off with how to utilize in remote settings. And if we have time, I did throw another section at the end of just how to implement like a daily practice. If we have time, then we can do that. And then we'll end off with resources and group discussion. So the next slide will be our definitions. So yeah, we already did the introduction, but this is the symbol on the left. There is the symbol for the Katzie First Nations. The land I occupy as a settler is traditionally belongs to the Katzie Nation. So, and that's their crest. I am literally just going to read these definitions. Meditation is a practice in which an individual uses a technique such as mindfulness or focusing the mind on a particular object, thought, or activity to train attention and awareness and achieve a mentally clear and emotionally calm and stable state. So you can probably surmise from that you can turn pretty much anything into a meditation practice. Walking can be a meditation. Paddleboarding can be a meditation. Eating can be a meditation. There's such thing as called mindfulness eating. So yeah, that will lead us to mindfulness. And mindfulness is the cognitive skill of sustaining meta-awareness on the contents of one's own mind. For example, sensations, perceptions, emotions, thoughts, etc., in the present moment without conceptual reification. That's a bit of a mouthful. Yeah, so again, I use these terms and definitions because they're so similar for the course, for the purpose of this course. I use the two kind of interchangeably. So I may get it a little bit into, depending on how the time is going, I may get a little bit into kind of the difference between meditation and mindfulness. And it's kind of hard to nail down because there's not really like one cohesive, this is what meditation is, as opposed to mindfulness. So for the purpose of this course, I'm kind of going to be using the two interchangeably. So yeah. And next slide, please. So yeah, we've got, so one of the ways first of all, I'm taking a really like binary and simplistic approach to the brain and to the mind in this talk. And so this is one lens on the brain. So we've got an emotional mind and we've got a rational mind. And we have a tendency to overemphasize one or the other. Specifically in our culture, we really have a tendency to overemphasize, in my opinion, the rational mind. And yet both are extremely necessary, both are very helpful. And on the next slide, we'll see that working together, the rational mind and the emotional mind is where we get our wise mind. This is when, you know, our brain is kind of operating at full capacity, and we are usually at this point, we're in our rest and digest stage. This is otherwise known as the elephant and the rider, according to Jonathan. I always mess up his name. I think it's Haidt. I say Haidt sometimes. I say Haidt sometimes. Jonathan Haidt. So on the next slide is just a little toy that my kids have that I love because it's the elephant and the rider. So yeah, Jonathan Haidt refers to this rational mind, emotional mind, wise mind as the elephant and the rider. And basically, the gist of it is that the elephant is more powerful. And yet somehow the rider has a way to, you know, in unhealth, the rider can control and force the elephant to go places that the elephant doesn't want to go. And in unhealth, the elephant is obviously more powerful and could knock the rider off completely and just go its own way, his or her own way. And yet, obviously, when we're in full health, when we're at our greatest potential, is when the elephant and the rider are working together. And so the rider is kind of a metaphor for the rational mind, and then the elephant is kind of a metaphor for the emotional mind. I will say that Jonathan Haidt has gotten a little bit of pushback on this, because some people view this as saying like the rational mind should be completely in control of the situation, and it can diminish the elephant's role. I personally don't think that's what Jonathan Haidt is saying. I kind of take that as you know, when we're in you know, our greatest potential, when we're in our full health, is when they're working together, the elephant and the rider together. So yeah, that's what I take from it. And that's what I think. So regardless of what Jonathan Haidt means by it, I think that you know, the best way that we can be in, you know, in our wise mind is when the elephant and the rider are working together. So yeah, next we have the wizard and the lizard brain. So most of you have probably heard of this, and again, I'll give another shout out to Day, as this is straight up just stolen from Day. So yeah, again, this is another situation where both are extremely necessary. The wizard brain is often referred to as the parasympathetic nervous system, and the lizard brain is often referred to as the sympathetic nervous system. And so again, yeah, like both are completely necessary, very, very important. It's really important not to put like valence qualities on these in terms of like, we can have a tendency to say that the wizard brain is good and the lizard brain is bad, or we can have a tendency to speak that way. And even in this little speaking event here, I may say things that make it sound like I'm saying, like I'm talking trash about the lizard brain, and that is not, that's not what I intend to do, because we need the lizard brain. We absolutely do need the lizard brain. So as a quick little you know, note on what the lizard brain actually does and is. So the lizard brain basically has Day calls it a switch, and it's not an on-off switch, it's a switch where we're in either rest and digest stage, or we're in like fight, flight, freeze, and all the other F's in that. So the lizard brain is always operating, and what it does is it controls so many of the things that we don't even think about, like our heart beating and our breathing and all sorts of stuff like that, and our digestion, right? And so anyway, and so that's why we say it's like a switch, because when we are in when we're in the rest and digest stage, it's kind of just going on autopilot and doing the things that it usually does. And then when we're in a situation where we're in fear, or when we're in anger, or when we're in that fight, flight, freeze stage, then it kind of takes over on a different level and makes it really, really hard for the wizard to operate. So the lizard brain, as I said, is very important. It literally saves our lives when we're in danger. And it's meant to operate in that way, in short bursts. It's not meant to be ongoing. It's not meant to be something that's constantly prevalent. And so it can be sticky, though. It can be sneaky. Like, we can be operating under lizard brain without even realizing we're operating under it. And so it's sneaky in that we can be in it without even realizing it, especially because we live really noisy and busy lives. Like, we're constantly on the go. I've heard it kind of explained as that we're operating, we're operating postmodern software on prehistoric hardware. And that's I love that explanation of the wizard brain and the lizard brain kind of working together, because from an evolutionary standpoint, the wizard brain is very new, and the lizard brain is extremely, extremely ancient, and so we'll kind of react. Our bodies will react, our brains will react the same way now, to something like public speaking, that we would have millennia ago, being chased by lions. And some people in the world still have those legitimate predatory threats, and sometimes we do have those threats. The point is, though, that we can react the same way to an upcoming exam, in terms of our bodily functions and what's happening in our brain. We can react the same way to an exam as we would in a car accident, as an example. And so anyway, so this is all just to say that it can be sneaky, because we can be operating under it without really even realizing that we are operating under it. And part of that is also we get our food and our shelter through productivity, and so we feel like we can never slow down. We feel like we can never pause. As humans, we're very community-oriented pack animals, and so much of our validation of who we are can be about our accomplishments. It can be we kind of equate our self-worth at times to what we're getting accomplished or how productive we're being. And so there's the fear of not getting accomplished what we need to get accomplished, and then there's also the fear of being cut off from our community, or our tribe, or our village, or whatever, which is all part of these ways that the lizard brain can be sneaky, and that we can be operating under lizard brain without even realizing it. In my own life, kind of anecdotally, Pre-pandemic, I was an electrician working in construction, and I was finding that the construction industry was really taking a toll on my mental health. And so I was, praying for a way and meditating on a way that I could get out of it and do something different. And then the global pandemic hit, and I've jokingly and perhaps insensitively said that I manifested the pandemic, which is probably not funny or true. But anyway, so when kind of the world stopped and I got laid off with half of the rest of the population, it afforded me an opportunity to explore something else. And at that time, it's not, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that meditation very well could have saved my life. I feel like I learned a lot of different mindfulness tools and just tools for mental health in general over the last, really over the last 3 years. I was meditating before, which was, I think, which was what was getting me to work every day and getting me through when I was working construction. And then, when I could kind of do it full time, then I really immersed myself in it and really learned a lot of tools. And over the past few months, I've actually re-entered the electrical trade, and I am finding these tasks that I used to find really, really, really difficult are super easy now. And I'm finding that I'm really realizing how much I was in partial lizard brain all the time. And it's incredible how much more joy I'm finding just by being present in that now. And it's something that I never would have thought ever would have happened in a million years. And I think it just is a testament to these tools, these mental health tools and meditation and mindfulness. So yeah, and that's an example of how the lizard brain can be sticky. We can stay in it for longer than what is healthy or helpful for us. And certainly my previous experience with being an electrician was I was very much stuck in partial lizard brain for years. So yeah, I hope that's enough without being too much for the folks who have been through MHWFA and for the folks who haven't been through MHWFA. Now I'd love to get into how meditation works, how the wizard talks to the lizard. So most of you have probably heard that the lizard doesn't speak English. The lizard speaks body language. So yeah, Day always makes people guess some things, but I'm just going to say it for time's sake, that breathing is one of the things that can be controlled by, quote, quote, both the wizard and the lizard. So breathing is something that usually the lizard controls, but you can take control of it. And you can take control of it by just taking a long, slow, deep breath in. And just doing that, taking control of your breathing, is one way that the wizard can speak to the lizard brain. It's one way that the wizard can say, it's okay. You're going to be okay. You're safe. Closing your eyes is another one. Usually our eyes being closed when we're sleeping is controlled by the lizard brain. And yet we can close our eyes. Usually blinking is controlled by the lizard brain. And yet we can close our eyes whenever we want. We can have the wizard take over that. And that's another way the wizard can say, if we're safe enough to close our eyes right now, then we're safe. And those are two fantastic and super easy ways to just have the wizard talk to the lizard and reassure the lizard that it's okay. You can go back to rest and digest. You can go back to doing all the other things that are so very important. Another thing we can do is just certain body movements, certain hand postures, you know, a safe self-touch, putting your hand on your chest. You know, that's a fantastic way for the wizard to talk to the lizard, you know, and say it's okay. Just to go back in reverse for just a second here, some people don't find closing their eyes to be an effective way of having the wizard speak to the lizard. Sometimes people get more afraid when they close their eyes. Hopefully we will have time for me to touch back on this. I'll talk about some mindfulness. I will talk about some like meditation and mindfulness practices you can do with your eyes open. And hopefully we get a chance to, I'd really love to go into a little bit of a theory. It's not my theory, it's Dr. Andrew Huberman's theory on why sometimes, right, different people have different reasons, but why sometimes people don't feel safe when they close their eyes. Anyway, where was I? I was safe self-touch, right? And then not to get too deep into it, but as I said earlier, there's such thing as mindfulness eating. Eating is a great way to for the wizard to assure the lizard that we're safe, we're okay. And then now we'll talk about the immediate benefits of mindfulness meditation. I have to expand my screen here because here we go. So the immediate benefits of mindfulness meditation is mindfulness meditation can immediately quiet and calm the mind. Like I was talking about earlier, you know, the simple act of closing our eyes, we can naturally feel our minds naturally, organically become more calm and quiet. And I'll actually invite everybody to just close your eyes right now if you feel comfortable to do so. And just notice that. Just notice that with this simple act of closing your eyes, your mind naturally gets quieter. And when you take a deep breath in, your body naturally becomes more relaxed. And with a big exhale, it's like we're letting go of anything that can inhibit that peace, inhibit that relaxation, inhibit that calm. And with those two simple acts of simply closing your eyes and taking a deep breath in, or if you don't feel safe closing your eyes, you can just focus on a point. You can focus on a point close to you, you can focus on a point in the distance, and you can focus on it kind of to a point where, you know, it's almost like it's blurry, right? And focus on it almost to, focus on it without noting the details, if that makes sense. And this is one way that we can kind of have the same effect of closing our eyes without closing our eyes. And then the third thing that I have here, although there are certainly more than three things that it does, one of the things it does is it brings us back to the present. If you have your eyes closed, you can open them, or you can, stay in the moment, whatever. So yeah, one thing mindfulness meditation can do immediately is bring us back to the present. When we're, often when we're dealing with mental health challenges, it's because we're fixating on something that has already happened, or we're worrying about something that might happen. And just taking a moment, sometimes it's just literally taking a few breaths. Sometimes it's literally just taking 15 seconds, to just close our eyes, or to just, focus on a point and take a few deep breaths. That's all it takes to bring us back to the present and remind us that we're not in danger, we're safe. And mindfulness and meditation can also have sustained effects, long-lasting, long-term benefits. Next slide, please. So yeah, one little note here is mindfulness and meditation are a very scientifically non-controversial. They're not controversial. And that's to say that there have been tens of thousands at this point studies on meditation and mindfulness, and consistently, specifically on the brain, consistently the findings come out that it's up there with exercise and reading. Those are the three things that come up, or maybe there are like top 5 things, but like meditation or mindfulness is consistently in the top 3 or top 5 things you can do for your brain health. Like that's the tier that it's on, is like with like exercise and reading and eating well. Like that's kind of the tier that meditation is on, for how it sustains brain health, how it improves brain health. And that's quite a feat, actually, because if you get a bunch of brain scientists together, it's hard to get them really to agree on anything. but this is one thing that is pretty much unanimously agreed upon. There was one study specifically done called "A Wandering Mind is an Unhappy Mind." That sounds like the name of an article that was written about a study, but that's actually the name of the study. And it found that being present is one of the greatest indicators of happiness. It found that even if we're doing a task that we don't like and we're thinking about something that makes us happy, that's actually making us less happy. It would make us more happy to just be present, even in the task that we don't like. So the long-term benefits of mindfulness meditation, I kind of just like went on a tangent because I love that study. It's been shown that one of the studies done has shown that as little as 3 to 5 minutes spent in meditation per day within 4 days can have long-lasting effects and profound effects. Benefits on the body, benefits on the mind, benefits on what I usually call the soul. I've called it overall well-being here because there are so many different definitions and whatever of what even the soul is, if the soul exists or whatever. But anyway, So I usually say like mind, body, and spirit. But for the purposes of tonight, I'll say mind, body, and overall well-being. Yeah, so benefits on the mind. Long-term benefits on the mind include reduced stress and anxiety, reduced depression, reduced anger, better focus and productivity, greater awareness of ourselves and of our environment. The benefits to our body, again, are just like both the mind and the body benefits of meditation are just incredible. Reducing heart disease is even one of them, improving sleep, enhancing the immune system, decreasing blood pressure, and even reducing pain. Like these are like profound, almost sounds too good to be true. And yet these studies are finding that these are the benefits of meditation. And in terms of just our overall well-being, meditation and mindfulness helps to build community. It increases empathy. It's, it gives us an improvement on our self-awareness. It enhances our peace, our overall sense of peace. It enhances our perception. And just a little tangent here on the soul. So the third eye chakra for thousands and thousands of years was thought to be like the seat of consciousness or the seat of the soul or the spirit. It's really funny because now, like thousands and thousands of years later, we realize that this is where our prefrontal cortex is. That all this time there was that ancient wisdom. Anyway, so yeah, we can literally rewire our brains to reduce stress and anxiety is kind of the point that I want to hang on for a second. Because as I said earlier, lizard brain can be sticky. And, through, a sustained practice of mindfulness and meditation, we can train our brains to come back more quickly and more easily to the wizard brain. We can have a greater self-awareness of when we're going into lizard brain, and when we don't need to be going into the lizard brain. And that's really the key here, is we can see like, oh, like obviously I'm in lizard brain. I almost got hit by a car or whatever it is, or I need to the house is on fire, I need to get out of here, let's stay in lizard brain for a minute, right? And then after that event is over, or if you're in a situation where like, okay, I just have to give a talk in front of some people, or whatever it is, like there's something that I'm stressing out about that I don't need to be stressing out about. These are meditation and mindfulness can train our brains to notice when we don't need to be in lizard brain, and can get us to a point where we can come out of it more quickly, more easily, and acknowledge that it's happening in the first place. And we do this in part by kind of rewiring our brains to have the wizard brain as kind of like our default setting. Like I was saying before, like a few years ago, lizard brain was really like my default setting. And it's taken me about 3 years to get to a point now where I would say at this point, wizard brain is more my default setting. And I notice that now, if I'm getting to a point where I feel like I'm, getting some undue anxiety, or I'm getting some undue stress, I can often just pause, close my eyes, take a deep breath, And often that's all I need to do to get me back to where I am. Obviously, like I said, if the house is on fire, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep running. Yeah. So, and this is like, so to come out of a state where you're like in partial lizard brain, like constantly, it's not something, like I said, there are immediate effects, and then there are long lasting effects. And sometimes we can be at a point where we need more than just a quick fix. We need more than just a band-aid, right? Which was like kind of the immediate benefits that I was talking about. And that's where we need, it doesn't have to be a daily practice. We can get to a point though where we need a practice, where we need, whether it's a daily or every couple days or 5 times a week or weekly. Some people even just meditate monthly. The more important thing is that there's some consistency to it, and that you keep going with it. You don't give up on it, because some of these mental health challenges can be, I've heard it described as like rerouting a river, like remapping your neurological pathways can be like rerouting a river. Like, you take one little shovel and, a little bit of that water is going to go off that little leg that you've made, and you keep, shoveling and shoveling and shoveling, and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Well, it's going to take a long time to shovel so much dirt that you're actually rerouting the river. And I believe it's possible. So yeah, so that's the long-term benefits of mindfulness meditation. And so yeah, now I'll talk specifically about how to practice in remote settings. So like I said, closing your eyes, taking a deep breath, safe self-touch, like putting your hand on your chest, giving yourself a self-hug, doing hand postures. These are all fantastic, exercises we can do in pretty much any situation, no matter how remote our setting is. Another thing we can do is we can do a body scan. We can do affirmations. We can, just tell ourselves you're safe, you're okay. If the thing is, like I said before, it could be something like you're worried about an exam, and sometimes the root of that worry is, that you don't think you're enough, like whatever it is, you don't think you're smart enough, you don't know the material well enough, or whatever it is. And you can just, if you are aware of what the root of the problem is, and through meditation, this is one way, like I said, one of the things it does is it increases self-awareness. And so you can more easily discover what is the root of this issue, and then you can get at the root of that issue. You can just tell yourself, I am enough, I am good enough, I'm smart enough, whatever it is, whatever the issue is, right? I'm loved, I'm safe, right? Whatever it is, affirmations are a fantastic way to to bring ourselves back to the present. And like I said, these are things that can be done in remote settings. There are some great, did I say tapping? Tapping is one of my favorites. But for eyes open, I'd like to talk for just a minute about some different things we could do with our eyes open. A lot of those things we can do with our eyes open, like the affirmations we could do about body scan with our eyes open. We could do self-touch, like a self-hug or hand on the chest or hand postures or tapping with our eyes open, EFT tapping or other forms of tapping. Alternatively, other eyes open exercises, like I said, focusing on one point. I think most of you know about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise, which is see, I always mix up or not always, but sometimes I mix up hearing and touch. But anyways, you think of 5 things you can see, you think of 4 things you can touch, and 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. And just thinking of those things, bringing those to mind, is a fantastic way to bring ourselves to the present. And again, that's something that we can do with our eyes open. Another thing that we can do is we can play a little game of I Spy with ourselves or with someone else. And there are different ways to do that. And then another thing that is actually super helpful is called mindful seeing. And this is where you look for, you see patterns. Okay, hang on. Let me try and say this. So you instead of focusing on objects, like instead of focusing on like a tree or a bird or what you're seeing is you're seeing patterns, you're seeing colors. Hopefully that makes sense. So how are we doing for time? I think we're doing okay. I think maybe I'll quickly, are people familiar with EFT tapping? This is one of the, I can't see people, so I don't know what's.
We talk about tapping very briefly in the course, but I don't go into EFT tapping just for the sake of time. It's such a cool thing for folks to know about if they don't already, and it's very, very evidence-based. I don't know if you want to take any time to go more into it, Sean.
Yeah, well, so yeah, like you said, it's super evidence-based, and it's one of those things. There's all sorts of stuff that we're now learning, like there was this ancient wisdom, like, you know, these traditions for like thousands and thousands of years that we're now, you know, Western science is like, oh yeah, like this actually works. And a lot of it, and EFT tapping is one of those things. Like, we know that it works. We don't really 100% know why or how it works. We just know that it's far, far, far greater, like EFT and mindfulness meditation, all these things, like far, far, far greater effects than like a placebo effect. So anyway, yeah, EFT tapping is traditionally, well, different people say different things, but traditionally I think it's like 9 points. And so the first point is the top of your head, like the top center of your head. And you can do both, or you can do one, but the next one, oh sorry, I jumped it there. The inside edge of the eyebrow, and then the side of the eye, along the outside of either eye or both eyes, and then under the eye. And again, you can do both, or you can do just one. So under the eye, top of the cheekbone, under the eye, and then under the nose, between the nose and the upper lip. And then the chin point, that's between the bottom lip and the chin. Sorry, I'm kind of rushing this, just because we're up against it a little bit. And then there's the collarbone point, which is, oh, I'm a little bit off there. There it is. It's about 2 inches below the notch, beneath the inside, beneath the inside edge of the collarbone. And then under the arm is about 4 inches beneath the armpits. And then the karate chop is the outside edge of the hand on the opposite from the thumb. And this one is great because you can do it like in a hoodie pocket or something. You don't necessarily have to cycle through all 9 of them. Even just doing one of them, it seems to release some sort of blockage. Like this is basically the theory, the wisdom behind it is that these are energy points, and we have like a blockage of energy, and this is, or we have some negative energy that we need to release, and this is one way of like breaking that blockage, or releasing that negative energy, letting the positive energy flow through us. So yeah, I like the karate chop because you can do it like in a hoodie pocket or whatever. You can be a little bit discreet about it. And oh, next slide. I forgot about this one. I was gonna have this slide up while I was talking about all the outdoor stuff, because this slide I put in just for fun because I love it. And this is so the top right is me. I think that was in Port Moody. Yeah, I think that was in Belcarra. And then the top right and the bottom left. I hope everybody's seeing this the same orientation as I am, but the top right and the bottom left, the purple jacket and the person in the purple jacket and the person in the orange and blue jacket, that was snowshoeing with my family, and those are 2 of my kids. Because yeah, I love the fact that, you know, you can meditate, you can start learning to meditate at really any age. And that's one thing that I have definitely attempted to foster in my children is mindfulness practice, a meditation practice. And some of them do it, and it's pretty cool to see when they do it. So yeah. And then the bottom middle is me playing guitar on the ferry. That was one of the many trips to go visit Day. And then the bottom right is me again, just meditating in a field. And yeah, I just put that slide in there for fun. So I think, do we have, maybe, hang on, let me check and see. Sorry, I'm looking at my slides. Yeah, next slide. I'm gonna like blast through this. So, and part of it is because there's not really a lot to say here. This was kind of the one that I threw in there, like just if we have time, and maybe we have a little bit of time. So there are basically 3 ways to meditate, and it's just you can do a longer meditation, you can do a shorter meditation, or you can do a micro meditation. And so what I mean by a longer meditation is usually 20 minutes to 30 minutes is considered a long meditation. Some people meditate for hours, some people meditate, I have a wife and 6 kids. I can't meditate for hours every day. So usually when I meditate, usually it's just I often refer people to guided meditations and other kind of technology assisted meditations, because when I first started out personally, that's what I needed, or I thought I needed. Anyway, when I meditate now, it's just silence. I don't use really anything, and so I meditate for 20 minutes at least once a day, usually twice a day. So that would be an example of a longer meditation. A shorter meditation, like I said, even just 2, 3, 5 minutes a day can have profound benefits, profoundly positive impact on your life. And doing that daily is well, or, you know, yeah, doing that daily is a fantastic way to improve your life for sure. And then the third way is just micro meditations, and these are things, like I said, you can just do throughout the day. You know, whenever you need to take a pause, take a breather, whatever it is, whenever it is, you can just, you know, pause for, you know, 15 seconds to 1 minute or 3 minutes, whatever it is, and just give yourself that space you need whenever you need it. Yeah, I was going to talk about some like goal discovery and oh, I think I do have enough time. I'm gonna like talk the rest of the time about whether we have enough time. So one exercise that you can do to figure out what kind of practice would be best for you is to find out whether you're more interoceptive or exteroceptive. That's interoceptive with an I and exteroceptive with an E. So basically, in a nutshell, what that means is it means if you're more inclined to be more interoceptive, it means you're more aware of what's going on inside your body. You know, an indication of that you're more interoceptive might be that you're talking to someone and you're not really fully paying attention to them because you're thinking about what your stomach's doing, or you're thinking about how fast your heart's beating or something like that. An example that you might be more exteroceptive is when you close your eyes. And actually closing your eyes is a great way to find out, you know, what comes to your attention when you close your eyes. You know, are you noticing something that's going on internally within you? Or are you noticing, you know, a bird chirping outside your window? Or are you noticing a car honking or something? And these are things that can change, you know, depending on our situation, depending on our circumstance, and just depending on whatever. Just because you're more inclined to be interoceptive or exteroceptive doesn't mean you're always leaning toward one way or another. In fact, we go back and forth many, many times a day. And so Dr. Andrew Huberman would say, you know, that before each meditation practice, you can give yourself a moment just to figure out whether you're more interoceptively inclined or exteroceptively inclined at that moment. And then you basically do the opposite because you want to foster that area where you're weaker. You want to strengthen that area where you're weaker. And just super quickly, a super easy way, and I'm being super simplistic here, generally speaking, a super easy way to do okay, so you can if you're more interoceptive and you want to be more exteroceptive, then a great meditation would be to focus on something else. And if you're, you know, to do a visualization exercise, or to focus on a point with your eyes open, or to do like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're more exteroceptive and you want to be more interoceptive, then a great way is to do a meditation where you're going inward, where you're either focusing on your third eye chakra, or you're focusing on your breathing, or you're just not you're just sitting in silence, and going inward. Anyway, I spent more time on that slide than what we really did have time for, so we'll move on. I have so much more that I could say, but we'll move on.
Just as a time check, we got 10 minutes left, and
Yeah.
might have some questions. I've certainly written down some questions from everything that you've shared so far. But
yeah,
slide here too.
So I'll just throw this up. This is my this is where you can find me. There's also a package that I developed specifically for MHWFA, that uses some of the tools we talk about in the MHWFA course. That's in a PDF format, and we can send that to anybody who wants it. So yeah, there's how you can connect with me on Insight Timer or Aura or Instagram or all sorts of other places. Yeah. So questions, comments, discussion time.
I have lots. I wrote like, these are some of my notes, but I'm always curious to turn it over to other folks before I get to my own personal questions and curiosities. Okay, I'll jump in with one to get ourselves going. But Donna, I saw you unmuted too. Was that because you had something to add?
Oh, I would just go. Am I unmuted? Yes. You can hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Sean. I really love your heart in this and your joy of meditation. And I too am a meditator, so I get it. My techniques are a little bit different than yours, but if we all try it the way we want to do it, we get to where we need to be. That's what it's about, right? Yeah. So I just appreciate you really put yourself into it. I can see that.
Thank you so much. I'd love to hear about your techniques.
I practice Vipassana,
Okay.
which is a little bit different than simple mindfulness. It is, you get mindful, but sometimes you sit in the dark places if that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You sit and visit and be curious. And
yeah.
So yeah, sometimes it's hard work, but that's my little gig. And I've been doing that for about 15 years. However, I get slumps, as you might know. Some days some years you're really onto it, and other times you're stepping back away. It's just nice to hear other people talking about their love of this discipline. It helps me when it helps when you bring that forward. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
I thought one of the notes that I kind of starred here is you were talking about a study. I'd be curious to see like your references and resources too. Like it's all something I could integrate into the course at some point. But you were talking about how there was a study about how being present is one of the primary markers or maybe predictors of happiness.
Yeah.
It made me think that, maybe you said something like trying to distract yourself by thinking about where you would rather be might actually have a paradoxical effect. Like it might actually backfire. And it was connected to what you said immediately after that, which is something about mindfulness being a strategy for reducing pain. I thought that was really interesting because one of my birth coaches who I've just been talking to was talking to me about like strategies for reducing pain during the birthing process. And she was saying that something that she's had enormous success with is actually not trying to escape the pain at all, but actually trying to lean into it and make it as big as possible.
Yeah.
I thought that was so fascinating.
Well, Donna would have something to say about that because that is that is something
that Vipassana?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. When you have the pain, you just go, oh, there you are. This is the pain. I'm curious about the pain. Talk to me. Tell me what you need.
Right.
Sometimes it's mucky. In childbirth, my mantra was, everybody came this way. I guess we could do it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's fantastic. So Day, if you're curious, you can go to the next slide.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm a nerd.
Yeah. Oh, great. Look at that. It's here.
That was not even by a long shot all the things that have influenced me. It's just kind of what I have most recently read while kind of putting this together. So
and you got the Andrew Huberman link up there. That's great. I was going to ask you for that one specifically too. We'll send all of these at like the mindfulness package resource package that you made. I'll link that obviously. And then are you also going to share these slides or at least that reference list?
Yeah, I'm happy to share whatever people want. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I'll put them all up on our guest speaker page. Anything else that's come to mind from folks, or like successes, curiosities, practices that you've had? Particularly interested in like any practices that you've done with groups. Sean gave some great examples about like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is a great one to do on forest walks too. I was thinking of Isolde's work for that one. But yeah, anything else that folks have had success with or have questions around?
I did just want to add to the comment that you made, Day, in terms of like pain. I work a lot with individuals with chronic pain in my counseling services. And one of the things, again, it's almost paradoxically, that I've found with people is, again, attempting to escape their pain often doesn't work. And sometimes I think there's a piece under there that they're like, I don't want to be tricking myself. I am in pain. And I will be in pain like chronically. This is part of my life. And sitting with their pain and acceptance of pain, and then being curious about pain and its purpose, sort of just being present with their pain, as you noted, has often been really helpful for reducing that experience. And as like a neuro nerd, I have some very interesting curiosities about what that's doing to the amygdala and how your frontal cortex is mediating that response. But I have found just being present with pain for most people has been, even though it's initially quite scary, a really effective practice.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I might.
Renee, you are.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Donna.
Oh, Renee, I was just wondering, when you speak to that, you're talking about emotional pain?
Emotional pain, but there's often like physical pain, especially in a chronic condition, almost always comes with emotional pain. And so those would both have to be addressed and sat with in order to probably reduce some of the discomfort that's being experienced. One of the most powerful experiences I've seen someone go through is to sort of incorporate this idea of not resisting into a lot of their lives. And again, that comes back to just being like present and practicing awareness rather than fighting everything that's coming to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that again relates to not trying to be in a different space than you are.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Is it related to like, what's it called? Radical acceptance therapy, something like that?
Yeah, it would be related to that for sure.
I might
also fit well within like acceptance and commitment therapy framework.
That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah. I might pick your brain later about like the role of the amygdala in pain response and that kind of thing, because I know pain, physical pain and emotional pain have a lot in common in the brain, like more than we might think.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
Mm-hmm. Well, with our 1 minute left, Sean, I guess I'll just say like, thank you so much for being here. I think this like generated a lot of discussion. I have a ton of notes. Like I said, lots of things are starred that I was like, oh, if I have time, I'm going to ask this one. I am curious, maybe this is a nice way to wrap things up. You talked, Sean, about the idea of doing a longer meditation, a shorter meditation, or a micro meditation. And I wonder if you might be invited to wrap things up just by illustrating to us or walking us through what would a micro meditation look like if we only have a very short moment to reground ourselves or be mindful.
Yeah. So for a micro meditation, it could be just as simple as closing your eyes. So I'll invite you to close your eyes and taking a long, slow, deep breath in. Pausing for just a moment and letting that breath out. While we continue to breathe deeply and slowly, I'll invite you to put your hand on your chest and say these words. I am safe. I am cared for. I am enough. And then whenever you're ready, slowly flutter your eyes open and come back to your natural surroundings.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you so much.
For being here. And also, if there's anything else that has come to mind from your practice or from your readings or whatever, this is an invitation to everyone. Please feel free to email it to me as well, because this is something that I'm curious about for the course, for my personal life. And also, like, it's possible that this would be of interest for me to, link in the resources that we put up for this chat too, or maybe Sean might be interested in it. So thank you very much, everyone, for bringing yourselves and your attention here. I'm happy to hang out for another few minutes if folks do have any lingering questions, but otherwise, thanks for your attention, and we'll see you at the next one, hopefully in March or April.